Hello everyone, today I'm going to be showing you the 15 best budget knives in CS2. Every knife on this list is under $300 except one, which is a little bit over, and this list is ranked by price. Now, this list is based on my personal opinion, and there are a lot more knives under $300. So, I recommend you do your own looking around if you don't like any of the knives here, or just let me know if you want me to do a part 2. Every knife shown will match up with the current or recent listing on Steam at the time of this video coming out, but prices change so the price may go up or down. And remember to check Buff or another site for a knife you want. They may have it for much cheaper than Steam. So, with all that out the way, let's see some knives. First, we have the Huntsman Brightwater, our cheapest knife at $154.84 in field tested. I'm a big fan of the Brightwater skin, it's probably the best camo in the game in my opinion, and on the tough looking Huntsman, I think it looks really good for how cheap it is. Next is the Bowie Freehand at $160.61 in field tested. The purple on the Freehand skin is really nice, and the Bowie is a pretty good looking knife in general, and I think combined it just looks good. But unfortunately, Freehand is a pretty busy skin, so I definitely understand disliking this knife. Next is the Navaja Tiger Tooth at $163.92 in factory new. I know the Navaja is hated, or at least disliked by most people, but hear me out, that pull-out animation is pretty cool. That's basically all the positives of the Navaja, but the Tiger Tooth skin is pretty nice. Next are the Shadow Daggers Tiger Tooth at $183.39 in factory new. Along with the Navaja, the Shadow Daggers are also pretty controversial, but the Tiger Tooth skin looks pretty decent on these. And while I'm personally not really a fan of these, you might like them a lot more than I do. Next is the Ursus Damascus Steel at $198.39 in field tested. Personally, I think the Ursus knife is really underrated, and the Damascus finish on it works really well. This knife also matches with basically everything because of how simple the finish is, and I think it's pretty underrated. I even used it in my first video's intro. Next is the Gut Lore at $199.27 in field tested. The gut knife is another knife most people dislike, but I think it's really overhated and a really nice knife. The Lore skin on this just looks amazing, and the Celtic knot along the blade looks great, and the gold color also looks really good. This is probably one of my favorite knives on this list. Next is the Gut Autotronic at $207.06 in field tested. While searching for general opinions on these knives, I found that most people agree on one thing for this knife. The handle is way better than the regular gut knife handle. And while I'm not sure buying a knife just for the handle is worth it, thankfully the rest of the knife is really good looking and the red looks really nice on the gut knife. Next is the Navaja Marble Fade at $215.02 in factory new. To be honest, if you're getting this knife, you're probably only getting it because of the Marble Fade. But I can't really blame you, the Marble Fade is really nice and maybe, just maybe, makes up for the fact it's a Navaja. Next is the Falchion Autotronic at $215.57 in field tested. I think the Falchion is a solid knife in general, and the Autotronic looks pretty good on it. This knife is definitely subtle with a somewhat plain blade, but I like the little bit of red and the mesh detailing on it. Next is the Falchion Lore at $218.58 in field tested. Same as the gut knife, the Celtic knot is really prominent on the Falchion, and there's more of the knot design than there is of just a plain color, and you might like or dislike that. The green handle also looks really nice in my opinion, and the steel is a nice accent that looks good with the gold and green. Next is the Survival Case Hardened at $244.83 in field tested. The can opener is another controversial knife, but I don't think it's half bad. Because this is case hardened, it might take some time or a little more money to find a pattern you like, but a nice pattern will probably make up for the fact it's a survival knife, just like the Marble Fade Navaja. Next is the Gut Doppler at $245.06 in factory new. I've already said my piece about how the gut knife is overhated, but even if you don't like the gut knife, I think you'll probably like it with this skin. We all know how nice Doppler skins are, and with how thick the gut knife is, it just means there's more of the pretty Doppler skin to look at. But again, it might take some time to find a nice pattern. Next is the Gut Marble Fade at $248.49 in factory new. Similarly to the Gut Doppler, this knife is just incredibly good for the price. This knife is really pretty, and honestly kind of similar to the Gut Doppler, with the main difference being the different colors on the tang and gut hook. And again, it may take a bit of time to find a pattern you like. Next is the Paracord Crimson Web at $280.98 in field tested. The Paracord is a pretty nice knife, and the Crimson Web pattern looks pretty good on it. The dark red blade and black Paracord wrap looks great together, but overall, this knife is pretty simple and definitely less flashy than a lot of other knives on this list. Lastly is the Falchion Slaughter at $315 in minimal wear. Now, this knife does go over our budget a bit, but if you're already spending $300 on a knife, what's $15 more if you really like it? I'm a big fan of the Slaughter skin, and I think it looks good on the Falchion. You may not like how the skin extends to the handle, but personally, I kinda like it, and the steel accents look pretty nice with this skin. So, that's the 15 best budget knives in CS2. Let me know if you'll be picking any of these knives up, because there are some pretty nice picks in here. If you want to see another video like this, let me know what budget you'd like to see, and maybe like or subscribe. Anyway, I am Beepy, and I'll see you in the next video.